Chapter 1: The Invitation. The summer sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the quaint suburban neighborhood where Alex lived. The sounds of laughter and distant music echoed through the streets, but Alex found little joy in the carefree antics of his peers. He leaned against the wooden fence of his backyard, mindlessly tossing a tennis ball in the air. His friends, Mia, Jake, and Sarah, had been buzzing with excitement all week about the upcoming summer festival, but Alex's heart wasn't in it. He craved adventure, something more thrilling than cotton candy and carnival games. Just then, his phone buzzed, breaking the monotony of his thoughts. It was a message from Mia. "You'll never guess what I found out. Meet us at Jake's in an hour." Curiosity piqued. Alex quickly replied, asking what was going on. The three of them had been best friends since childhood, bound together by their shared love of adventure and a penchant for mischief. As he paced back and forth in his yard, he couldn't help but wonder what they had stumbled upon this time. An hour later, Alex arrived at Jake's house, breathless with anticipation. The air was thick with the smell of barbecued burgers, and laughter spilled out of the open patio doors. Mia and Sarah were sitting at the outdoor table, plates piled high with food, while Jake was manning the grill. He looked up as Alex approached, a sly grin spreading across his face. "Just in time for the best part," Jake declared, flipping a burger and gesturing for Alex to take a seat. "We've got something epic lined up for tonight." "What is it?" Alex asked, taking a seat beside Mia. She was practically bouncing in her chair, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "You know the old Anderson mansion on the edge of town?" Sarah said, her voice barely above a whisper, as if speaking too loudly would summon the spirits that were rumored to haunt it. "Yeah, the one everyone says is haunted," Alex replied, raising an eyebrow. He'd heard the stories, whispers of strange lights flickering in the windows, the chilling sounds of footsteps echoing through the halls, and the tragic tale of Emily Anderson, a girl who had mysteriously vanished decades ago. Mia leaned closer, her voice filled with a conspiratorial tone. "We're going to explore it tonight, just the four of us. I heard from my cousin that there's a way in through the back." Alex felt a thrill rush through him. "Are you serious? You guys really want to do that?" "Why not?" Jake said, shrugging. "It'll be fun. We'll bring flashlights and some snacks. Plus, we can finally prove that it's all just a bunch of old stories." Sarah hesitated, glancing at Alex. "I don't know. What if something happens? What if the stories are true?" "Come on, Sarah. Where's your sense of adventure?" Mia teased, nudging her friend playfully. "It's just an old house. We'll be fine." Alex could see the flicker of fear in Sarah's eyes, but he also sensed her curiosity. He had felt it too. The idea of stepping into a place steeped in mystery and dark history was too enticing to resist. "Let's do it," Alex said, surprising himself with his own enthusiasm. "What time are we going?" "Midnight," Jake declared, his voice brimming with mischief. "The witching hour. It's the perfect time to see if the place is really haunted." As the sun dipped below the horizon, the air grew cooler, and the group spent the next few hours preparing for their late-night escapade. They gathered flashlights, snacks, and a camera, eager to document their adventure. Mia insisted on bringing her trusty old video camera, determined to capture any spooky moments on film. When the clock struck midnight, the four friends found themselves at the edge of the Anderson estate. The mansion loomed before them, its silhouette stark against the moonlit sky. Vines crawled up the sides of the decaying structure, and shattered windows gazed out like empty eyes. The weight of its history pressed down on them, and a chill ran down Alex's spine, but he brushed it off as excitement. "Are you guys ready?" Jake asked, his bravado masking the uncertainty that lurked in his eyes. "Let's go," Mia said, her voice steady. They moved closer to the mansion, each step crunching on the gravel path that led to the front door. As they approached, the air grew heavy with an eerie silence, broken only by the rustling of leaves and the distant call of a night owl. Alex's heart raced, not just from fear, but from exhilaration. He felt alive, caught in a moment that would become a story to tell for years to come. They reached the front door, which hung ajar, creaking slightly as if inviting them in. "Who wants to go first?" Jake asked, glancing at the others. "Why don't we go in together?" Sarah suggested, gripping her flashlight tightly. With a collective breath, they stepped inside, the door groaning ominously behind them. The darkness enveloped them, thick and palpable. Their flashlights flickered to life, illuminating the grand foyer. Dust motes danced in the beams of light, and the remnants of a once opulent chandelier hung precariously above them. "This place is incredible," Alex whispered, awe washing over him. "Or creepy," Sarah muttered, shivering as she glanced around. The walls were adorned with peeling wallpaper, and the floorboards creaked underfoot, as if protesting their intrusion. "Let's check out the living room first," Mia suggested, her voice barely above a whisper. They ventured deeper into the house, drawn by a mix of trepidation and curiosity. As they entered the living room, the atmosphere shifted. The air felt charged, and Alex couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. He scanned the room, taking in the remnants of furniture draped in white sheets and the fireplace lined with ashes from long extinguished flames. "Do you think we'll find anything unusual?" Mia asked, her eyes glinting with excitement. "Like ghosts?" Jake laughed, though Alex could sense a nervous edge to his laughter. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed from upstairs, silencing their banter. The group froze, exchanging nervous glances. "What was that?" Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. "Probably just the wind," Jake said, though his bravado faltered. But deep down, Alex felt it, the undeniable pull of the unknown. The mansion was alive with secrets, and he was determined to uncover them, no matter what lay in wait. "Let's go see," Alex said, adrenaline coursing through him as he took a step toward the staircase. Together, they climbed the creaking steps, hearts racing, eager to confront whatever haunted the depths of the Anderson mansion. Little did they know, they were about to awaken a darkness that had lain dormant for far too long. Chapter 2. The Arrival. The staircase creaked ominously underfoot as Alex led the way up to the second floor. Each step felt like a heartbeat echoing through the oppressive silence of the old mansion. A thin layer of dust covered the banister, and the air was tinged with the musty scent of decay. Mia followed closely behind him, her video camera clutched tightly in her hands, while Jake and Sarah brought up the rear, their nervous whispers barely audible in the tense atmosphere. As they reached the top, a long corridor stretched out before them, illuminated only by the beams of their flashlights. The walls were lined with faded portraits of long-dead residents, their eyes seemingly following the group as they passed. The somber expressions of the painted faces added to the eerie feeling that enveloped them, making Alex feel as though the very house was alive, watching, waiting. "Where should we go first?" Jake asked, his voice breaking the stillness. He glanced at the doors lining the corridor, each one closed, hiding secrets behind its weathered wood. "What about that one?" Mia pointed to a door at the end of the hall, slightly ajar, with a flickering light spilling out from within. Alex felt a surge of excitement mixed with trepidation. "Let's check it out." They moved cautiously toward the door, the floorboards creaking beneath them like the house itself was groaning in protest. As they reached the door, Alex took a deep breath, steadying himself. He pushed it open, and the light from inside flooded the hallway, revealing a dusty old study cluttered with books and antique furniture. The room was surprisingly intact compared to the rest of the house. A massive wooden desk dominated the center, its surface littered with yellowing papers and an ornate globe that looked like it hadn't been touched in decades. Shelves lined the walls, filled with books whose titles had faded with time. An old leather armchair sat in one corner, its once rich color now dulled by age. "Wow, look at this place!" Mia exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder as she turned on her camera to capture the scene. Sarah stepped further into the room, her flashlight beam dancing across the walls. "It's like a time capsule," she said softly, her fingers grazing the spines of the books. "I wonder what happened to the people who lived here." Alex wandered over to the desk, curious about the papers strewn across its surface. As he picked one up, he noticed it was a letter, the ink faded but still legible. It was addressed to Emily Anderson, the girl whose mysterious disappearance haunted the town. His pulse quickened as he read the words. "Dear Emily, I can no longer bear the weight of the secrets we share. You must know that your father's actions will have dire consequences. I fear for your safety." "Guys, come look at this," he called, waving the letter in the air. Mia and Jake rushed over, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of their flashlights. Sarah, too, leaned in closer, her curiosity piqued. Is that really from her? Mia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Yeah, it's addressed to her, Alex replied, his heart racing. It's talking about her father. It sounds like there was something seriously wrong. Jake took the letter and examined it closely. Do you think this has anything to do with why she disappeared? He asked, a frown forming on his face. Maybe, Sarah said, her voice trembling. We should keep looking for more clues. Determined to uncover the truth, the group continued their exploration of the study. They sifted through the bookshelves, opening dusty tomes and flipping through pages, searching for anything that might shed light on Emily's fate. But as they delved deeper into the room, the atmosphere shifted. A chill crept into the air, wrapping around them like a cold fog. Do you feel that? Mia asked, shivering slightly as she glanced around. Yeah, it's like the temperature dropped, Jake said, rubbing his arms. Maybe we should move on, Sarah suggested nervously, her earlier excitement fading. Alex nodded, though a part of him was reluctant to leave the study. They had only scratched the surface of the mysteries contained within these walls, but he could sense the tension building among his friends, the unease palpable. Okay, let's check out another room, he said, trying to keep his voice steady. How about the one next door? They exited the study and approached the next door, a heavy wooden panel that looked as though it hadn't been opened in years. Jake pushed it open with a loud creak, and they stepped into what appeared to be a bedroom. The moonlight streamed through the dusty window, casting a silvery glow over the room. The bed was draped in a tattered canopy, and remnants of old toys were scattered across the floor, evidence of a child's presence long gone. A faded rocking horse stood in the corner, its paint chipped and peeling. Ugh, this is creepy, Sarah said, her voice trembling as she glanced around. It's like a ghost story come to life, Mia said, peering into the closet, which was partially ajar. Alex walked over to the window and looked out. The view of the overgrown garden beyond sent a wave of nostalgia crashing over him. He imagined a time when laughter and joy filled the air, children playing in the sunlight. But that was long gone, replaced by the oppressive silence of the mansion. What do you think happened to Emily? He asked, turning back to the group. I don't know, Jake said, running a hand through his hair, but it's clear something went horribly wrong here. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from downstairs, making them jump. They exchanged wide-eyed glances, fear gripping them. What was that? Mia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Let's go check it out, Alex said, trying to sound brave despite the fear creeping into his own heart. They hesitated, glancing at one another, but the sound had sparked a sense of urgency within him. Whatever was happening in this house needed to be uncovered. Together, they descended the stairs, each creak of the floorboards sending shivers down their spines. As they reached the bottom, they noticed that the front door, which they had left ajar, was now wide open. A gust of wind rushed through the foyer, sending a chill down Alex's spine. Did someone open that? Sarah asked, her eyes wide with fear. No, it was closed when we came in, Jake replied, his voice tense. Mia aimed her flashlight toward the door, but the light flickered as if it were struggling against the darkness surrounding them. Alex stepped forward, his heart pounding. Let's go outside, he said, feeling a mix of dread and curiosity. We need to figure out what's going on. They stepped onto the porch, the night air wrapping around them like a shroud. The moonlight cast eerie shadows across the grounds, and the wind whispered secrets through the trees. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught Alex's eye. He turned, but nothing was there. He shook off the feeling of unease creeping in and looked back at his friends, who stood close together, their expressions a mix of fear and exhilaration. Maybe it was just an animal, he suggested, trying to reassure them. Or maybe something else entirely, Mia replied, her voice filled with a hint of uncertainty. As they stood there, the weight of the house settled heavily on their shoulders. Whatever awaited them inside the haunted walls, they were determined to face it together. The night was far from over, and the mystery of the Anderson mansion was just beginning to unfold. Chapter 3: The First Night. As the group stood on the porch of the Anderson mansion, a blanket of darkness enveloped them. The eerie silence hung heavy in the air, broken only by the rustling of leaves in the night breeze. Alex felt a mixture of excitement and dread swirling in his stomach as they ventured back inside, their flashlights cutting through the shadows like knives. Okay, let's set up camp in the living room, Jake suggested, trying to sound confident despite the unease etched on his face. We can share our findings and maybe even capture some evidence of the paranormal. Yeah, like ghost selfies, Mia teased, but the nervous tremor in her voice betrayed her bravado. As they made their way back to the living room, Alex noticed how the house felt different now, more alive, more aware. He could almost sense the walls breathing around them. Once inside the dimly lit room, they dropped their bags and spread out their gear, eager to create a home base in this haunted setting. Mia set her camera on the coffee table, checking the battery and ensuring it was recording. Let's document everything. If we catch something on film, it'll be epic. Let's hope it's not us screaming and running for our lives, Sarah added, a hint of anxiety creeping into her tone as she peered nervously into the dark corners of the room. Jake threw a few snacks on the table, trying to lighten the mood. How about some ghostly ghost stories while we wait for the supernatural to make an appearance? They settled into a circle on the floor, the soft glow of their flashlights illuminating their faces. Alex felt a rush of camaraderie among his friends. Despite the foreboding atmosphere, their collective excitement forged a bond that pushed them forward. Who wants to go first? Jake asked, leaning back against the wall, a devil-may-care grin on his face. I'll go, Mia volunteered, her enthusiasm returning. I heard this story from my cousin about a ghost who roams the halls of an old mansion at midnight, searching for something she lost. As Mia began her tale, Alex glanced around the room, taking in the peeling wallpaper and the dust motes swirling in the beams of their flashlights. The house felt as though it were holding its breath, and he couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. Mia's story unfolded with thrilling detail, her voice a mix of excitement and fear. She described the ghost as a sorrowful figure dressed in white, forever wandering, her haunting cries echoing through the night. The tale sent shivers down Alex's spine, and he leaned in closer, captivated. When Mia finished, Jake clapped, a grin plastered on his face. That was awesome, but I bet I can top that. He launched into a story about a group of explorers who ventured into an abandoned asylum and never returned, their spirits doomed to wander the halls forever. As the stories continued, the atmosphere in the room shifted. Laughter gave way to nervousness, and a sense of tension hung in the air. Every creak of the house seemed amplified. Every whisper of the wind felt like a ghostly breath on their necks. Let's take a break, Sarah suggested, her eyes darting around the room. I need to grab a snack. Good idea, Alex agreed, grateful for the distraction. He stood and moved toward the table, opening a bag of chips and munching nervously. He glanced out the window, and for a brief moment he thought he saw something moving in the shadows of the garden. But when he focused, nothing was there. He shook his head, trying to dispel the thought. As they resumed their storytelling, the tension built. Each story ended with a chilling silence, leaving a lingering sense of unease. Finally, after a particularly dark tale from Jake about a haunted doll that terrorized a family, the atmosphere grew thick with apprehension. All right, let's see if we can actually contact any spirits, Mia said, her voice barely concealing her nervousness. I brought a Ouija board. Seriously? Sarah gasped, her eyes wide. You're joking, right? No, I'm not. It'll be fun, Mia replied, her enthusiasm infectious despite Sarah's hesitations. With a hesitant nod, Sarah finally relented, though she looked like she would prefer to be anywhere else. The group gathered around the low coffee table as Mia unpacked the Ouija board, laying it out with care. Okay, everyone, place your fingers lightly on the planchette, Mia instructed, her excitement palpable. We'll ask if there are any spirits who want to communicate with us. Alex's heart raced, a mix of thrill and apprehension surging through him. He'd always been fascinated by the paranormal, but had never actually attempted to contact a spirit. With everyone's fingers resting on the planchette, Mia took a deep breath. Is there anyone here with us? She asked, her voice steady. For a moment, nothing happened. The planchette remained still, and the air felt thick with tension. Then, almost imperceptibly, the planchette began to move. Alex's breath hitched in his throat as it slid across the board, spelling out a single word. Help. What the? Jake exclaimed, his voice cracking. Did you move that? No, Mia insisted, her eyes wide with shock. I swear I didn't. They all looked at one another, a mix of fear and disbelief swirling in the air. Maybe it's just a coincidence, Sarah suggested, her voice trembling. Let's ask it another question. Who are you? Alex asked, trying to sound brave despite the chill creeping up his spine. Again, the planchette moved, this time more forcefully, spelling out Emily. The room fell silent, the weight of the revelation sinking in. They were communicating with the spirit of Emily Anderson, the girl whose fate had haunted the town for decades. What does she want? Mia whispered, her eyes wide with fear and intrigue. Maybe she wants us to find out what happened to her, Alex suggested, a mix of determination and trepidation coursing through him. We need to help her. But before anyone could respond, the lights flickered overhead, and the temperature in the room plummeted. A sudden gust of wind swept through the mansion, extinguishing their flashlights and plunging them into darkness. A panic surged through the group as they fumbled for their lights, hearts pounding. Turn them back on, Jake shouted, his voice rising in pitch. As they scrambled to regain their bearings, Alex felt a rush of adrenaline. We can't let fear control us. We need to stick together. Finally, the lights flickered back on, casting a dim glow over the room. The planchette lay still on the Ouija board, but a heavy silence hung in the air, charged with unspoken tension. What just happened? Sarah asked, her voice shaking. I think we might have disturbed something, Mia whispered, her eyes darting around the room, searching for shadows. We need to be careful, Alex said, feeling the weight of their situation pressing down on him. But we can't leave now. We need to find out more about Emily. Just then, a loud bang echoed from somewhere deep within the mansion, shaking the walls and sending tremors of fear through the group. What was that? Jake yelled, his voice echoing in the confined space. Alex's heart raced, and he felt a surge of determination. We need to investigate. This is what we came for, right? As they gathered their courage, the group exchanged apprehensive glances, each one silently questioning whether they were truly ready to confront whatever lay ahead. The haunted house was awakening, and they were its unwilling guests, trapped in a web of history and mystery. With renewed resolve, they prepared to delve deeper into the heart of the Anderson mansion, ready to face the darkness that awaited them. Chapter 4: Whispers of the Past. The atmosphere in the Anderson mansion thickened with every passing moment. As Alex, Mia, Jake, and Sarah steadied themselves after the jarring bang, an uneasy silence enveloped them once more. The air was heavy with anticipation, almost as if the house were holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Okay, we need to regroup, Alex said, trying to sound more confident than he felt. Let's go back to the study and see if there's anything else we can find about Emily. Mia nodded, her face pale but determined. We might uncover more clues about her life or what led to her disappearance. The more we know, the better we can help her. As they retraced their steps down the corridor, the house seemed to shift around them, creaking and groaning as if it were a living entity. The faint scent of damp wood and mildew clung to the air, and every whisper of wind felt like a ghostly caress. Once back in the study, the group spread out, searching for anything that might provide insight into Emily's life. Alex revisited the desk, scouring through the piles of papers for anything that seemed significant. The letter he had found earlier still lay open, and he picked it up again, studying the ink-stained words. What did it say again? Mia asked, peering over his shoulder. It's about Emily's father, Alex replied. It mentions secrets and danger. It sounds like there was more going on in this house than we realized. What if he was involved in her disappearance? Jake suggested, his voice tense. What if she found out something she wasn't supposed to know? That would make sense, Sarah chimed in, her brow furrowed. But we need more proof. As they rummaged through the shelves, Mia discovered an old leather-bound diary wedged between two dusty tomes. Guys, check this out, she exclaimed, pulling it free and brushing off the layers of dust. What does it say? Alex asked, moving closer to read over her shoulder as she carefully opened the diary. The pages were yellowed with age, and the handwriting was neat yet shaky. It looks like it belonged to Emily, Mia said, her voice barely a whisper. These entries are dated over 100 years ago. Jake leaned in, eyes wide with curiosity. What does she talk about? Mia began to read aloud, her voice taking on a soft, almost reverent tone. August 12th, 1902. Father is acting strange again. I can hear him arguing with Mother in the study late at night. I'm worried about them. About us. The others listened intently, the room growing heavier with the weight of Emily's words. September 5th, 1902. I found a box in the attic today. It was filled with letters and pictures of people I've never seen. They looked happy, but the letters were filled with sadness and loss. I don't understand why Father keeps them hidden. What box? Jake interjected. Maybe we should check the attic next. Mia continued reading, her voice trembling slightly. October 1st, 1902. I overheard Father talking to someone late at night. He sounded angry. I couldn't make out the words, but I know he was speaking to someone important. I'm scared of what he might do. Emily was terrified of her father, Sarah whispered, her eyes wide. What was he hiding? November 12th, 1902. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to find out what Father is hiding. I will search the attic tomorrow. I have to know the truth. The room fell silent as Mia finished reading. The last entry hung in the air, laden with tension. What happened after that? Alex asked, his heart racing. Did she ever find out? I don't know, Mia replied, turning the page cautiously. The rest of the diary remained blank, as though Emily had never had the chance to write again. What if she never made it to the attic? Jake suggested, a frown etching itself on his face. What if she found something she shouldn't have? We have to go up there, Alex declared, a sense of urgency coursing through him. If there's a chance we can find out what happened, we need to take it. The group exchanged nervous glances, but ultimately nodded in agreement. The mystery of Emily Anderson was becoming too powerful to ignore. With determination fueling their steps, they climbed the narrow staircase leading to the attic, the air growing colder with each ascent. Shadows danced along the walls, and the creaking of the old house echoed in their ears. When they reached the top, a heavy door stood before them, its wood worn and warped. Alex reached for the handle, his heart pounding in his chest. Here goes nothing. He pushed the door open, revealing a dimly lit attic filled with cobwebs and dust-covered boxes. The air was stale, and the scent of mold hung heavily. The attic was a chaotic mess of old furniture, forgotten memories, and dusty relics. Old trunks and boxes lay scattered about, each one filled with potential secrets. Let's split up and search, Alex suggested, trying to keep his voice steady. We'll meet back here in 20 minutes. As they began to rummage through the attic's contents, Alex felt a strange sensation wash over him. It was as if he were being watched. He shook his head, trying to dispel the thought, and focused on the nearest box, prying it open to reveal a collection of yellowed photographs. He sifted through them, examining the faded images of smiling families and laughing children. One photograph caught his eye, a family portrait with a young girl in a white dress standing beside her father, a stern expression etched across his face. Alex's heart raced as he realized the girl was Emily. "Mia, come look at this," he called, holding the photograph up for her to see. Mia hurried over, her eyes widening as she took in the image. "That's definitely her." Just then, a loud crash echoed from the other side of the attic, making them both jump. "What was that?" Mia exclaimed, her voice trembling. "I don't know, but it sounded like it came from over there," Alex said, pointing toward a stack of boxes that had fallen over. They cautiously approached the noise, their hearts pounding. As they neared the toppled boxes, Alex felt a chill run down his spine. Something didn't feel right. "Maybe we should go back," Mia suggested, glancing around nervously. But before Alex could respond, a soft whisper floated through the air, almost too faint to hear. "Help me, please." The word sent a jolt of fear through him. "Did you hear that?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Mia nodded, her eyes wide with fear. "What was that?" "Maybe it's Emily," Alex said, feeling a mix of excitement and dread. "We have to find out what she wants." They reached the fallen boxes, and Alex carefully began to sift through the mess. As he pulled away the debris, he uncovered a small wooden box, intricately carved and slightly ajar. "This must be what she was looking for," he murmured, opening it slowly. Inside lay a collection of old letters and a delicate locket. "Wow," Mia breathed. Peering inside, this could be important. They pulled out the letters, their edges frayed and worn. The first letter was addressed to Emily, and as Alex began to read it, he felt a profound sense of connection. Dear Emily, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. Your father, he has secrets that could destroy our family. Trust no one. The words sent chills down Alex's spine. This is from someone who cared about her, he said, glancing at Mia. Suddenly, the air grew colder, and the whispering returned, echoing through the attic. Help me, please. Mia, we have to do something, Alex urged, his heart racing. We can't leave her trapped here. With determination, they gathered the letters and the locket, resolved to uncover the truth about Emily and the dark secrets hidden within the walls of the Anderson mansion. As they made their way back toward the staircase, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that they were getting closer to something monumental, an ancient mystery that had been buried for far too long. The whispers of the past were calling out to them, urging them to seek the truth, no matter the cost. Chapter 5: The Dark Secret. The air in the attic felt electric, charged with a mixture of fear and anticipation, as Alex and Mia clutched the wooden box filled with letters and the delicate locket. Each step they took toward the staircase echoed through the silent space, amplifying their racing hearts. The whispering had subsided, but its chilling presence lingered like a fog in the corners of their minds. Do you think the others heard that? Mia asked, her voice a mix of excitement and trepidation. She clutched the locket tightly, as if its very presence could ward off any lurking spirits. I don't know, but we should tell them what we found, Alex replied, glancing back toward the scattered debris in the attic. We might be getting closer to understanding what happened to Emily. As they descended the stairs, Alex felt the oppressive weight of the mansion pressing down on them, as if the walls were closing in, urging them to leave the secrets buried. But curiosity propelled them forward. They reached the main floor and found Jake and Sarah huddled in the living room, a mix of fear and intrigue painted on their faces. Did you guys hear that crash? Jake asked, eyes wide. We thought it was you two messing around. No, it was something in the attic, Mia interjected, her voice rising with excitement. We found some incredible stuff. What did you find? Sarah asked, her expression shifting from fear to curiosity. Alex opened the wooden box, revealing the collection of letters and the locket. These belong to Emily. There's a letter that hints at a dark secret about her father. Jake leaned closer, his interest piqued. What does it say? Mia picked up the first letter, her fingers trembling slightly. Dear Emily, if you're reading this, it means I'm gone. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you. Your father? He has secrets that could destroy our family. Trust no one. A heavy silence filled the room as the implications of the words sank in. That sounds serious, Jake said, glancing at Sarah. What kind of secrets? I don't know yet, Alex replied, his brow furrowing as he rifled through the letters. But it seems like whatever it was, it scared Emily enough to want to find out more. Sarah shivered, her expression wary. What if her father was involved in something dangerous? What if it's still happening? Exactly, Mia chimed in, her voice steadying as determination set in. We need to dig deeper. There's got to be something more to this story. They decided to split up again, each searching for more clues within the mansion. This time, Alex led the way to the dining room, which felt colder than the rest of the house. Dust covered the ornate table, grew up in cobwebs draped from the chandelier like ghostly curtains. Look at this, Jake said, pointing to a large portrait hanging on the wall. It depicted a stern-looking man, Emily's father, no doubt, his eyes seeming to follow them as they moved about the room. The expression on his face was one of authority and sorrow, a juxtaposition that made Alex uneasy. Do you think he knew about the letters? Sarah asked, stepping closer to the painting. What if he was hiding something that could have saved her? Maybe he was trying to protect her from whatever he was involved in, Mia speculated, her gaze shifting from the painting to the room itself. We should look for anything that might lead us to more information about him. They scoured the dining room, opening cabinets and drawers, uncovering dusty china and old utensils. In one drawer, Alex found a small journal, its leather cover cracked and worn. He opened it carefully, revealing pages filled with neat handwriting. It looks like another diary, he said, excitement bubbling within him. Let's see what it says. As he read aloud, the journal detailed the father's thoughts and concerns about the family's legacy. I must protect Emily from the truth. The family's history is stained with dark dealings and betrayals. I cannot let her inherit this burden. Mia frowned, absorbing the words. It sounds like he was desperate to keep her safe, but from what? Continuing to read, Alex's heart raced. I have made enemies in my past, and they will stop at nothing to destroy everything I hold dear. I fear for Emily's safety. She is too innocent to understand the dangers lurking in the shadows. Enemies? Jake echoed, his voice low. What kind of enemies? People who wanted something from him, Sarah suggested, her voice trembling. What if they were after Emily? Guys, we need to figure out what happened after this, Alex said, closing the journal with a snap. There must be more evidence somewhere in this house. They decided to check the attic again, hoping to uncover more clues. Climbing the stairs once more, Alex felt the atmosphere grow thicker, the weight of history pressing down on them. The whispering had returned, a low hum that seemed to resonate from the very walls. Can you hear that? Mia asked, her voice barely above a whisper as they stepped into the attic. Yeah, Jake replied, glancing around uneasily. It sounds like voices. What if it's Emily? Alex suggested, a sense of urgency fueling his determination. We need to find out what she wants. They quickly searched through the remaining boxes, moving with purpose. As they rummaged through old clothes, furniture, and knickknacks, Alex spotted a small trunk tucked away in the corner, partially hidden beneath an old sheet. Look over here, he called, excitement rising as he approached the trunk. Mia and Jake hurried over, and together they pried it open. Inside were old newspaper clippings, yellowed and brittle with age. Look at this, Mia exclaimed, pulling out a clipping that read, Local girl disappears. Mystery surrounds the Anderson family. Alex's heart raced as he read the article. It detailed the events surrounding Emily's disappearance, mentioning the strange happenings in the mansion and the sudden change in her father's behavior. Authorities report that the last sighting of Emily was near the mansion. Neighbors reported strange noises and lights at odd hours, leading to speculation about the family's history. This is it, Sarah whispered, her eyes wide. This could explain everything. Flipping through the clippings, they found more stories detailing a series of events surrounding the Anderson family. Rumors of dark rituals, whispers of the occult, and strange visitors to the mansion late at night. Did her father have something to do with these rituals? Jake wondered aloud, a look of dread spreading across his face. Mia shook her head, trying to make sense of the chaos. If Emily was trying to uncover the truth, maybe she stumbled into something she shouldn't have. Suddenly, the temperature in the attic plummeted, and the whispering grew louder, echoing around them like a cacophony of voices. Alex felt a chill creep down his spine as the whispers coalesced into a single haunting cry. Help me, please. The intensity of the atmosphere surged, and a heavy weight pressed down on their chests. We need to get out of here, Sarah gasped, fear gripping her voice. This is getting too intense. No, we can't stop now, Alex insisted, gripping the trunk tightly. We're on the verge of uncovering something huge. We have to push through. But as he spoke, the attic door slammed shut, plunging them into darkness. The whispering crescendoed, swirling around them in a maelstrom of sound. Panic surged through the group, and they scrambled for the door, but it wouldn't budge. Emily, please, Mia shouted, her voice breaking. We're trying to help you. As if in response, the whispering grew louder, and for a moment, the air felt electric with energy. Alex closed his eyes, focusing on the voice that echoed through the chaos. Help me, please. In that moment, he felt an overwhelming sense of connection, a plea from beyond the grave. They had to find the truth, not just for themselves, but for Emily's sake. With newfound determination, Alex stepped forward, willing the others to follow. We can't give up. We owe it to her to uncover the dark secret that binds us all. As the whispers enveloped them, the energy in the room shifted, becoming palpable. They would confront the shadows of the past, unravel the tangled web of Emily's life, and unearth the truth that had remained hidden for far too long. Chapter 6. Confronting the Darkness. The air in the attic crackled with an otherworldly energy, a palpable tension that wrapped around Alex and his friends like a suffocating blanket. The door had slammed shut with a finality that sent chills racing down Alex's spine. They stood together, breathing heavily, their hearts pounding in sync with the relentless whispering that surrounded them. "Is this really happening?" Jake asked, glancing nervously at the walls, as if expecting them to close in around them. "How do we get out?" "Let's not panic," Mia urged, her voice shaking but resolute. "We need to focus. Maybe if we figure out what the whispers are trying to tell us, we can find a way to open the door." "Emily needs our help," Sarah said, her eyes filled with determination. "She's reaching out to us. We can't let fear stop us now." Taking a deep breath, Alex stepped toward the trunk they had opened earlier. "We need to find more clues. There has to be something here that explains what happened to her and why she's still trapped in this place." They began to sift through the trunk again, pulling out newspaper clippings and letters. Each piece of paper felt heavy with significance, laden with the weight of the past. Alex's fingers trembled slightly as he picked up another article. It detailed strange occurrences in the mansion, lights flickering at odd hours, unexplainable sounds, and sightings of a girl in white roaming the grounds. "Look at this," he said, turning the paper toward the group. "People in the neighborhood reported seeing Emily after she disappeared. They described her in a white dress, just like the one in the photo we found." "What if she's been trying to reach out all along?" Mia suggested, her eyes wide with realization. "Maybe she's been trapped between worlds, unable to move on. Or maybe her father's actions tied her to this place." Jake added, his brow furrowed. "We need to confront whatever it is that keeps her here." With renewed resolve, they returned to the attic, searching through the remaining boxes. The whispering intensified, almost as if the house were urging them on. They pulled out old toys, pieces of furniture, and more photographs, each revealing fragments of Emily's life. Then, Alex spotted something glimmering beneath a pile of dusty blankets. He bent down and uncovered a small, ornate mirror. Its surface was clouded, but there was something mesmerizing about its frame, intricately carved with symbols he didn't recognize. "What is that?" Mia asked, her curiosity piqued. "I don't know, but it feels significant," Alex replied, turning the mirror over in his hands. As he examined it, the whispers seemed to ebb and flow around them, growing fainter and more melodic. "Do you think it has something to do with Emily?" Sarah asked, stepping closer. "Maybe it was hers," Jake suggested, peering at the mirror's surface. "What if it shows us something?" Alex hesitated for a moment, but felt an inexplicable pull toward the mirror. He wiped away the dust with his sleeve, revealing the reflective surface beneath. As he gazed into it, the whispers transformed into clear voices, echoing softly in his mind. "Help me, find me, free me." The voices were clearer now, and Alex felt a chill run down his spine. "Emily?" he whispered, the name escaping his lips like a prayer. Suddenly, the mirror shimmered, and for a brief moment, he saw a glimpse of a room, dark and shadowy, filled with the remnants of a life once vibrant. There, in the corner, stood a figure, a young girl in a white dress, her face obscured by shadows. "Emily," he shouted, a surge of urgency propelling him forward. "We're here to help you." The figure turned, and for a heartbeat, Alex saw her face, wistful, sorrowful, yet filled with a glimmer of hope. "Please," the voice echoed, a mix of desperation and longing. "Find the truth before it's too late." As quickly as it had appeared, the vision vanished, leaving Alex breathless and trembling. "We have to find out what she meant," he said, his heart racing. The door to the attic suddenly creaked open, and a gust of wind swept through the room, carrying with it the scent of roses, Emily's favorite flower. The whispers faded to a hush, replaced by an eerie stillness. "Let's get out of here," Mia urged, her eyes wide with fear but laced with determination. They stepped cautiously through the open doorway, descending the staircase into the dimly lit hallway below. "Where do we go next?" Sarah asked, her voice echoing in the silence. "There's one place we haven't checked," Alex replied, his mind racing. "The basement. It might hold the final pieces of the puzzle." As they made their way down the narrow corridor leading to the basement door, a sense of foreboding washed over them. The air grew colder, and an inexplicable dread settled in their stomachs. Alex took a deep breath and reached for the doorknob, turning it slowly. The door creaked open, revealing a dark, musty space. The stairs leading down were steep and rickety, covered in dust and cobwebs. As they descended, the atmosphere shifted, and a deep sense of history surrounded them, as if they were entering a realm where time stood still. At the bottom, they found themselves in a small room filled with old crates, broken furniture, and forgotten memories. The dim light cast long shadows that danced across the walls, and the air was thick with the smell of damp earth and decay. "Search everything," Alex commanded, his heart racing. "We have to find anything that could give us a clue." They scattered, rummaging through boxes and crates, the weight of the atmosphere pressing down on them. As Alex opened one of the larger crates, he uncovered an array of dusty artifacts: an old clock, a set of tarnished silverware, and a collection of framed photographs. Mia picked up a photograph and examined it closely. "These are of Emily's family," she said, her voice trembling. "Look, there's her father again, but he looks different here, more relaxed." "Maybe it was before everything went wrong," Jake suggested, peering over her shoulder. "Or maybe it's the calm before the storm," Sarah said, glancing around the room nervously. As Alex continued to sift through the crates, he felt a sudden chill. He turned and noticed a hidden door at the far end of the basement, slightly ajar. An inexplicable pull drew him closer, and he exchanged worried glances with his friends. "Should we?" Mia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "We have to know what's behind it," Alex replied, steeling himself. With a deep breath, he pushed the door open, revealing a narrow passage that seemed to lead deeper into the bowels of the mansion. The darkness yawned before them, swallowing any light that dared to enter. "It's now or never," Alex said, leading the way into the unknown. As they stepped inside, the whispers returned, swirling around them like a tempest. "Help me, please." The plea echoed through the darkness, stronger than ever, urging them onward. The passage twisted and turned, leading them into a small chamber, dimly lit by flickering candles. The walls were lined with strange symbols and faded photographs, each one depicting a moment from Emily's life. In the center of the room stood an old wooden table, covered in various artifacts, some resembling talismans, others looking like remnants of rituals long forgotten. "Look at this," Mia said, holding up a small, intricately carved box. "It looks like it might contain something important." Alex nodded, his heart pounding as he approached. "Let's see what's inside." As they opened the box, a rush of cold air filled the room, and the candles flickered wildly. Inside lay a delicate bracelet, shimmering even in the dim light. "This must be Emily's," Sarah said, awe written across her face. "It's beautiful." But as she reached for it, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. The walls began to tremble, and a dark shadow loomed in the corner of the room. The whispering crescendoed into a deafening roar, drowning out their thoughts. "Emily?" Alex shouted, desperation lacing his voice. "We're here to help you. We believe you." In that moment, the shadow coalesced into a figure, a spectral version of Emily, her face twisted in anguish. "Find the truth! You must find the truth before it consumes you." The room darkened further, and the whispers intensified, a chaotic symphony of voices pleading for release. "We're trying," Mia cried, her voice trembling. "What do we need to do?" Emily's spirit reached out, her hand trembling. "You must confront the darkness. Confront him. Only then can I be free." The shadows around them twisted and writhed, revealing glimpses of Emily's past, her father's anger, the shadows of the enemies he had made, the desperate attempts to protect her. "Please." Emily's voice faded, and in an instant the room was plunged into silence. The energy shifted, and the candles flickered out, leaving them in darkness. The overwhelming dread that had filled the room began to lift, replaced by a profound sense of purpose. "We need to confront her father," Alex said, determination hardening in his voice. "He's the key to understanding what happened and freeing Emily once and for all." As they stood in the remnants of Emily's pain, a newfound strength coursed through them. They were not just there to uncover the past, they were on the brink of a confrontation that could change everything. With their resolve solidified, they prepared to return to the main floor, ready to face the shadows of the Anderson family and confront the darkness that had ensnared Emily for far too long. Chapter 7: The Father's Secret. The atmosphere in the basement felt charged as Alex, Mia, Jake, and Sarah stood united, their hearts pounding in unison. They had encountered Emily's spirit, felt her desperate plea for freedom, And now they knew they needed to confront her father's dark legacy. The path forward was fraught with uncertainty, but their resolve was unwavering. "Where do we even begin?" Jake asked, breaking the tense silence. "How do we find him?" "His study." Alex replied, a sense of purpose igniting within him. "It's where he likely kept his secrets. We need to search for clues that can help us understand why Emily is trapped here." "Let's go then," Mia urged, her voice steady despite the fear lingering in her eyes. "We have to do this for her." They ascended the stairs from the basement, the eerie whispers of the house still echoing in their minds. The main floor felt alive, the air thick with tension as they made their way toward the study. Each step felt heavy, laden with the weight of history and the ghosts of decisions made long ago. Upon reaching the study door, Alex paused, taking a deep breath. "Are we ready for this?" he asked, glancing at his friends. "Ready as we'll ever be," Sarah replied, determination etched across her face. Alex pushed the door open, and it creaked ominously, revealing a dimly lit room filled with dusty bookshelves and an imposing mahogany desk at its center. The scent of old leather and parchment enveloped them, a testament to years of secrets held within these walls. "Look at all these books," Jake said, scanning the shelves. "There must be something here." They began to search the study, rifling through the books and papers scattered across the desk. Alex noticed a large, leather-bound journal that stood out among the clutter. Its cover was embossed with strange symbols, reminiscent of those he had seen in the basement. "This looks important," he said, pulling it from the shelf. As he opened the journal, the pages crackled with age, revealing the father's meticulous handwriting. The entries detailed his thoughts, fears, and the dark circumstances surrounding Emily's life. "My enemies are closing in. I cannot let them take Emily from me. I must protect her at all costs, even if it means sacrificing my own soul." "Sacrificing his soul?" Mia repeated, her voice barely above a whisper. "What does that even mean?" "It sounds like he was involved in something sinister," Alex replied, his heart racing as he continued to read. "They want to expose our family's secrets. I fear the darkness that lurks in my past will come back to haunt me, and I won't let it claim my daughter." "Is he talking about the rituals?" Jake asked, his brow furrowing. "What kind of secrets could he have been hiding?" "I don't know," Alex said, flipping through the pages. "But there's something here. Wait, look at this." He turned to a page filled with sketches, symbols, diagrams, and notes detailing a ritual designed to protect one's family from malevolent forces. The protection spell requires the essence of the one being protected, bound to a powerful object. Only then can the darkness be kept at bay. "What kind of object?" Sarah asked, leaning closer. "It doesn't specify," Alex said, his mind racing. "But it looks like he was preparing to do something drastic. Maybe he was planning to use Emily as part of the ritual," Mia suggested, her voice trembling. "That would explain why she's still here. He could have bound her spirit to this house." "That's horrific," Jake breathed, shaking his head in disbelief. "How could he do that to his own daughter?" "Desperation can drive people to make terrible choices," Alex replied, feeling the weight of the journal's revelations pressing down on him. He thought he was protecting her, but in reality, he was trapping her. As they continued to delve into the journal, they stumbled upon more entries detailing the father's descent into madness. "The darkness is growing stronger. I can hear them whispering to me, taunting me. I must do whatever it takes to keep Emily safe." "Whispering? Is he talking about the spirits?" Sarah asked, her voice barely audible. "What if they were trying to influence him?" "Whatever it was, it consumed him," Alex replied, his hands shaking as he turned the pages. He became obsessed, convinced that his actions were justified. The final entry made Alex's heart race. "I found the key to salvation. The locket will bind her essence to the house, allowing me to protect her from the outside world. It is a small price to pay for her safety." Mia's eyes widened in horror. "The locket. He was going to use it to trap her. That's why she can't move on," Jake added, a chill running down his spine. "She's caught between worlds, bound to this house by her own father." Alex felt a surge of anger. "We have to destroy the locket. It's the only way to free her." "But how do we find it?" Mia asked, panic creeping into her voice. "What if it's lost in all of this?" "There must be a clue," Alex said, flipping through the journal one last time. He has to have mentioned it somewhere. Just then, a sudden draft blew through the study, causing the pages to flutter wildly. One page caught Alex's eye, a sketch of the locket, adorned with intricate designs. Beneath it was a note. The locket lies in the heart of the mansion, where the shadows converge. The heart of the mansion? Sarah echoed, her brow furrowed in thought. What could that mean? Maybe it refers to the central room, Alex suggested, his mind racing. The one we haven't explored yet. The one with the grand staircase. Mia nodded, her determination returning. That must be it. We need to go there right now. They quickly gathered their findings, tucking the journal safely under Alex's arm. As they moved toward the door, the whispers grew louder, swirling around them like a tempest. Help me. Free me. It's like they're urging us on, Jake said, glancing around nervously. Let's hurry. They raced down the hallway, hearts pounding in rhythm with the echoes of the mansion. The grand staircase loomed before them, its opulent banister worn with age. As they ascended, a sense of urgency propelled them forward. Do you think the locket is really there? Mia asked, her voice steady but laced with uncertainty. It has to be, Alex replied, his determination unwavering. We'll find it and set Emily free. They reached the top of the staircase and stepped into the central room, which was grander than they had imagined. The high ceilings were adorned with intricate plasterwork, and light filtered through tall windows, casting an ethereal glow across the floor. This place feels alive, Sarah whispered, her eyes wide as she took in the beauty around her. Alive or haunted? Jake replied, glancing warily at the shadows creeping along the walls. As they moved deeper into the room, Alex felt a pull toward the far corner, where a large tapestry hung, depicting a family scene, Emily and her father smiling, the warmth of their bond captured in fabric. Look at this, Mia said, pointing to the tapestry. What if there's something behind it? With a nod of agreement, they approached the tapestry and carefully pulled it aside. To their shock, they found a small compartment built into the wall. There's something here, Alex said, reaching for the latch. With a gentle tug, the compartment opened, revealing a velvet-lined box. Inside lay an exquisite locket, shimmering even in the dim light. We found it! Mia exclaimed, her voice a mix of joy and disbelief. Alex picked up the locket, feeling its weight in his palm. It was beautiful, adorned with intricate designs that matched the sketches in the journal. But beneath its beauty lay an unsettling aura. Now we just have to destroy it, Jake said, his voice filled with urgency. But how? Sarah asked, looking around the room as if searching for answers. Alex studied the locket, remembering the descriptions in the journal. If the journal is right, we need to break the bond it has with Emily. We have to perform a ritual, one that undoes the binding. Can we even do that? Mia asked, uncertainty creeping into her voice. I think we can, Alex replied, his resolve growing stronger. We have the journal for guidance. If we follow the steps, we can free her. Let's do it, Jake said, his determination palpable. We can't let Emily stay trapped here any longer. As they gathered around the locket, the whispers intensified, swirling around them in a cacophony of urgency. Help me, free me. With each heartbeat, Alex felt the weight of their task pressing down on them. They had come too far to turn back now. They would confront the darkness, break the bonds of the past, and finally set Emily free. Let's begin, Alex said, his voice steady as he prepared to perform the ritual that would change everything. Chapter 8, The Ritual. The atmosphere in the grand room felt electric, charged with an intensity that made Alex's skin prickle. As he held the locket in his hand, its surface cool and smooth, he could feel the weight of Emily's fate resting on his shoulders. The shadows in the corners seemed to thicken, as if the very walls of the mansion were watching, waiting for what was to come. Are we sure we're ready for this? Mia asked, her voice a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Once we start, there's no going back. Alex nodded, his heart racing. We have to do this for Emily. She deserves to be free from whatever hold her father had on her. Jake stepped closer, his expression serious. We need to follow the steps in the journal carefully. It's the only way to ensure we break the bond the locket has with her. Sarah gathered the items they had found in the basement, placing them in a circle around the locket on the floor. We should light the candles, she suggested, pulling out a small pack of matches from her backpack. As the candles flickered to life, Their warm glow illuminated the room, casting dancing shadows on the walls. Alex took a deep breath, feeling the tension build within him. Okay, let's get started. He opened the journal to the page detailing the ritual, his hands trembling slightly as he read the instructions aloud. To break the bond of the locket, the essence of the one it binds must be called upon. The circle of protection must be formed, and the spirits must be invited to witness the ceremony. Do we have everything we need? Mia asked, her brow furrowed as she glanced around the room. Alex nodded. We have the locket, the candles, and the artifacts. We just need to focus our energy and intentions. As they formed a circle around the locket, the room felt alive with anticipation. The whispers grew louder, echoing in their ears, urging them on. Help me. Free me. Emily, Alex called out, his voice steady. We're here for you. We're going to set you free. The air thickened, and for a moment the temperature dropped. Shadows flickered across the walls, and the whispering faded into a soft hum, as if the very essence of the house was responding to their call. Let's begin, Jake said, his voice firm. We need to concentrate. As they closed their eyes, Alex focused on the locket, visualizing Emily's spirit. I call upon the spirit of Emily Anderson, he intoned, his voice resonating with conviction. We invite you to join us in this sacred space, to witness the breaking of the bond that holds you captive. The air shimmered, and for a brief moment, Alex felt a presence among them, a gentle warmth, a soft glow. He opened his eyes and gasped. In the center of their circle, a faint silhouette took form, shimmering with an ethereal light. Emily, Mia exclaimed, her voice filled with awe and hope. Help me, the figure whispered, her voice echoing like a distant melody. Together, Alex urged, feeling a surge of energy coursing through him. We can do this. We'll free you. As they continued the incantation, Alex reached for the locket and held it high above their circle. By the power of our intentions, we call upon the spirits to aid us. We break the bond of the locket that binds Emily to this world. The shadows in the room writhed as if resisting their command. The whispers turned to a chorus of anguished cries, swirling around them in a tempest of sound. No, you cannot free her. Alex clenched his teeth, determination flooding his veins. We must not falter. Emily deserves to be free. The room trembled as he pressed on. With the light of our intentions, we sever the ties that bind. We release you, Emily. You are no longer a prisoner of this house. As he spoke, the locket began to pulse in his hand, glowing with an inner light. The silhouette of Emily brightened, her features becoming clearer, a look of both fear and hope in her eyes. Free me, she pleaded, reaching out toward the locket. Together, Jake shouted, and they all focused their energy, channeling their will toward the locket. The candles flickered wildly, casting eerie shadows as the air grew thick with tension. Alex felt the weight of the world pressing down on him as he summoned every ounce of strength within him. By the power of the spirits, we break this bond. Emily, you are free. With a blinding flash of light, the locket erupted in a burst of energy, sending waves of warmth and light cascading through the room. The whispers turned into a harmonious melody, a chorus of freedom that resonated deep within their souls. Thank you. Emily's voice floated through the air, melodic and serene. Her figure shimmered brightly, transforming from a shadowy silhouette into a radiant spirit. I am free, at last. As the light enveloped her, Alex felt a sense of peace wash over him. The oppressive darkness that had lingered in the room began to dissipate, replaced by a warm glow that filled every corner. The locket shattered in Alex's hand, fragments scattering across the floor like falling stars. The remnants of the bond shattered, and Emily's spirit sparkled, her face glowing with gratitude. Your love set me free, she whispered, her voice soft and ethereal. Thank you for believing in me. As her spirit began to fade, a sense of calm filled the room. The shadows retreated, leaving behind a bright and inviting atmosphere. The weight of the mansion lifted, as if the very essence of the house had been cleansed. I can go now, Emily said, her smile radiant. You've given me the chance to find peace. With one last glance, she turned and walked toward the light that enveloped her, a shimmering aura that promised freedom and peace. As she disappeared into the light, the air felt lighter, the oppressive atmosphere of the house lifting like a heavy fog. The whispers faded into silence, replaced by a serene stillness that wrapped around them. We did it, Sarah said, her voice filled with disbelief. We really did it. Alex looked around, the reality of what they had accomplished sinking in. She's free, he whispered, a smile spreading across his face. We helped her. Jake grinned, relief washing over him. I can't believe we actually pulled it off. I was terrified it wouldn't work. Mia's eyes sparkled with tears. We believed in her. That's what mattered. As they stood together in the now peaceful room, the sunlight streaming through the windows, they felt a profound sense of accomplishment. They had confronted the darkness, faced their fears, and set a trapped soul free. But even in the wake of their triumph, a lingering question remained. What will happen to the house now? Alex wondered aloud, glancing around the room, still rich with history. Maybe it can finally be at peace, Jake suggested. With Emily gone, the dark energy should fade away. Mia nodded, a hopeful look in her eyes. Let's make sure of it. We can tell others about her story, honor her memory. With newfound determination, they made a pact to share Emily's story with the world, to ensure her legacy would live on, untainted by the darkness that once enveloped her. As they stepped out of the grand room and back into the sunlight, the mansion seemed to sigh with relief. It stood tall and proud, a testament to the love and courage that had conquered its darkest secrets. Let's go home, Alex said, a sense of peace settling over him. Together, they left the haunted house behind, ready to embrace a future unburdened by the shadows of the past. Chapter 9: The Aftermath. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the landscape as Alex, Mia, Jake, and Sarah made their way back to the car. The haunted house loomed behind them, now just an old structure with peeling paint and broken windows, but it felt entirely different than it had before. The oppressive atmosphere that had once clung to it like a shroud had lifted, replaced by a serene silence that echoed with the promise of peace. I can't believe we actually did it, Mia said, breaking the comfortable silence that had settled between them. Her eyes sparkled with a mixture of relief and disbelief. Emily is finally free. It feels surreal, Jake replied, glancing back at the house one last time. I never thought we'd uncover such dark secrets. I mean, trapping your own child like that, it's horrifying. Desperation can make people do terrible things, Alex said quietly, his mind still racing with the revelations they had uncovered. He felt a lingering heaviness in his heart, knowing the price Emily's father had paid for his misguided protection. But at least we were able to change her fate. As they reached the car, Sarah paused, turning back to face the house. I think we should do something for her, she suggested, her voice thoughtful. Maybe plant a tree or leave flowers in her memory. That's a great idea, Mia said, her expression softening. She deserves to be remembered, not just for her suffering, but for the strength she showed in the end. Alex nodded in agreement. Let's make a plan. We can come back here next week with flowers and maybe some small tokens that represent her spirit, something beautiful. As they piled into the car, the weight of their experience began to sink in. The journey to free Emily had brought them closer together, but it had also exposed the fragility of life and the shadows that linger in the hearts of those who have suffered. Driving back through the familiar streets, Alex glanced at his friends. They were visibly changed, stronger, more aware of the world around them. We need to tell Emily's story, he said, breaking the silence. People need to know what happened here, not just to understand the dangers of despair, but to honor her memory. Definitely, Jake agreed. We can write an article for the local paper, or even start a blog. We could document our findings, and maybe even share what we learned about the mansion's history. That's a good idea, Mia added, her enthusiasm rekindling. We can raise awareness about mental health issues, too. Emily's father's actions came from a place of fear and desperation, and we need to highlight how important it is to seek help. Sarah smiled, a sense of purpose shining in her eyes. This could be a way to help others who might feel trapped like Emily did. If we share her story, maybe it will reach someone who needs to hear it. As they reached Alex's house, the fading light cast long shadows across the driveway. They stepped out, still buzzing with adrenaline, their minds racing with ideas. Let's meet tomorrow to brainstorm, Alex suggested. We can gather our notes and start outlining how we want to approach this. Sounds good to me, Jake said, glancing at his watch. But first, I need to process all of this. I think I'm going to go for a run. Me too, Mia added. I need to clear my head. Same here, Sarah said, stretching her arms. I'll text you all later to confirm when we'll meet. As they parted ways, Alex stepped inside his house, the familiar warmth of home enveloping him. But even in this comforting space, he felt a sense of disquiet. The experience of confronting the past weighed heavily on him, and he knew he would have to reflect on everything they had uncovered. That night, as he lay in bed, sleep evaded him. Images of Emily's radiant spirit danced behind his eyelids, her face filled with hope as she was finally released from the shackles of her father's darkness. Yet, the shadows of the house still lingered in his mind. The whispers had faded, but the echoes of despair were etched deep within him. He grabbed his journal from his bedside table, the pages filled with thoughts, sketches, and notes from their investigation. Flipping through the pages, he found himself drawn to the illustrations of the symbols he had seen in the basement. The symbols were remnants of a past that had been buried, but their power had been very real. He picked up a pen and began to write, documenting everything he had learned about the house, the Anderson family, and the history that had led to Emily's tragic fate. He wrote about the father's desperation, the misguided attempts to protect his daughter, and the darkness that had consumed him. As the words flowed from his pen, he felt a sense of catharsis. Writing became an outlet for the emotions that churned within him: grief, anger, and ultimately hope. The hope that sharing this story would resonate with others, helping to break the cycle of despair that could ensnare anyone. Hours slipped by as he immersed himself in the narrative, losing track of time until the first light of dawn began to creep through the curtains. Exhausted yet exhilarated, he finally set down his pen and closed the journal, a sense of accomplishment washing over him. The next day, the sun shone brightly, and Alex awoke with renewed determination. He quickly got dressed and headed to the kitchen, where he found his mother sipping her morning coffee. "Good morning, honey," she greeted, her smile warm and familiar. "You're up early. How was your night?" "Long, but productive," Alex replied, pouring himself a cup of coffee. "I've been thinking a lot about that house and everything we discovered." "I can't imagine what you must have gone through," she said, her tone softening. "It's not easy to face such heavy truths." "It's not," he admitted, sitting down at the table. "But it's important. Emily's story needs to be shared. I want to make sure her memory lives on and that people learn from what happened." His mother nodded, understanding the weight of his words. "That's a noble goal, Alex. Just remember to take care of yourself, too. You can't carry the weight of the world alone." "I will, Mom. I promise," he said, feeling a rush of gratitude for her support. "I'm meeting up with Mia, Jake, and Sarah later to start planning how we'll share Emily's story." As the day unfolded, the anticipation of their meeting filled him with excitement. The four friends gathered at their usual cafe, the air buzzing with energy and ideas. They found a cozy corner table, their notebooks and laptops scattered across the surface, each of them eager to contribute. "We should start with an outline," Jake suggested, pulling out his laptop. "We can categorize everything we learned into sections: Emily's story, her father's actions, the history of the house, and what we can do to raise awareness." "Good idea," Sarah agreed, her fingers tapping away as she took notes. "We can also include resources for mental health support. It's vital that we provide help for anyone who might be struggling." Mia smiled, her enthusiasm infectious. "And we should include the local history. People need to understand that the house has been a part of this community for so long. It's more than just a haunting, it's a story that affects us all." As they brainstormed, laughter and passion filled the air, drowning out the remnants of the darkness they had faced. They were united in their mission to honor Emily, transforming their experience into something positive and meaningful. The sun began to set outside, casting a warm glow through the cafe windows. With each idea they shared, they felt a sense of hope building within them. A hope that their efforts would make a difference, that Emily's spirit would live on through their words. And as the evening wore on, Alex realized that he was no longer haunted by the past. Instead, he felt empowered, surrounded by friends who understood the weight of their experiences and the importance of sharing their truth. They would tell Emily's story, honoring her memory while helping others find their way out of the shadows. Chapter 10: New Beginnings. Weeks had passed since Alex, Mia, Jake, and Sarah had confronted the darkness within the haunted house. And with each day, the echoes of that fateful night faded into the background of their lives. Yet, the impact of Emily's story remained etched in their hearts and minds. They had worked diligently to compile their findings, crafting a narrative that honored Emily's memory while shedding light on important issues surrounding mental health and the consequences of despair. As the sun rose on a crisp autumn morning, Alex sat at his desk, a cup of coffee steaming beside him. The warmth of the sun streamed through the window, illuminating the pages of his journal scattered across the table. The articles they had drafted, along with Sarah's sketches of Emily's spirit, gave life to their vision of sharing her story. He couldn't help but feel a sense of pride at what they had accomplished. The day had finally come for their first public presentation at the local community center. Excitement and nervousness bubbled within him as he double-checked his notes. They had invited friends, family, and members of the community to attend, hoping to reach those who might benefit from their message. This was their chance to share not only the haunting story of Emily, but also the vital importance of mental health awareness. "Are you ready?" Mia's voice pulled him from his thoughts as she entered the room, her presence brightening the atmosphere. She wore a navy blue sweater that matched her determined spirit, and her eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. "I think so," Alex replied, taking a deep breath. "I just hope people are open to what we have to say." "They will be?" she assured him, her confidence unwavering. "You've poured your heart into this, and it's a story that needs to be told. Emily deserves to be heard." As they made their way to the community center, the crisp air invigorated them. The leaves painted the sidewalks in hues of red and gold, a reminder that change was a constant part of life. The world around them felt alive, buzzing with the promise of new beginnings. Upon arriving, they were greeted by a small crowd gathered in the center's main hall, their faces a mixture of curiosity and concern. Chairs were set up in a semicircle, and the stage was adorned with a banner that read, "Healing Through Stories, a community conversation on mental health." As the four friends stepped onto the stage, a wave of nervous energy washed over them. Alex took a moment to gather his thoughts, scanning the audience for familiar faces, friends, neighbors, and even a few teachers from high school who had come to support them. "Thank you all for being here today," Alex began, his voice steady despite the fluttering in his stomach. "We're here to share a story that is both haunting and hopeful. It's about a girl named Emily Anderson, whose spirit we were fortunate enough to help free from the shadows of her past." Mia took a step forward, her passion igniting the room. Emily's story is a reminder of the importance of mental health and the impact that isolation and despair can have on a person. Her father's actions, while born from love, led to unimaginable consequences. As Mia spoke, Alex felt the warmth of solidarity radiating from the audience. People were leaning in, their expressions reflecting empathy and understanding. It was a good sign. Jake chimed in, his tone serious. "Our goal today is to raise awareness about the signs of mental health struggles and encourage open conversations. We all have battles we face, and it's essential to know that seeking help is not a sign of weakness, but a step toward healing. Together, we can create a supportive community," Sarah added, her voice ringing with conviction. "It's time to break the stigma surrounding mental health." Emily's story is a call to action, a reminder that we can't always see the pain others are in. As they shared their findings and the details of the ritual that had freed Emily, Alex noticed nods of recognition from the audience. It was clear that many had experienced their own struggles, and the collective weight of those experiences began to transform into a sense of solidarity. After their presentation, the group opened the floor for questions and discussions. Hands shot up around the room as people expressed their thoughts and stories, sharing personal experiences that mirrored Emily's. Alex felt a profound connection to these individuals, realizing they were all part of a shared journey toward understanding and healing. One woman stood up, tears glistening in her eyes. "Thank you for sharing this. I lost my brother to his struggles, and it's been hard to talk about it. But your story gives me hope. that we can make a difference. Her vulnerability resonated with everyone present, and the atmosphere shifted, transforming into a safe space where stories could be shared without fear of judgment. As the discussion continued, they exchanged resources for local mental health services and support groups, creating a network of connection that would extend beyond this day. As the event came to a close, Alex felt a sense of accomplishment wash over him. They had not only honored Emily's memory, but also sparked meaningful conversations that could lead to change in their community. The journey to share her story had brought them closer together, forging bonds that transcended their individual experiences. Stepping off the stage, Alex was met with hugs and words of encouragement from friends and family. Mia beamed with pride, her enthusiasm infectious. "We did it. We really made a difference." Jake and Sarah joined them, their expressions reflecting the exhilaration of their shared achievement. "This is just the beginning," Jake said, his voice filled with determination. "We can keep this momentum going." "We should start a blog or a social media campaign," Sarah suggested, her eyes alight with ideas. "We can continue sharing stories and resources, creating a platform for others to voice their struggles and triumphs." As they exchanged ideas, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had turned a dark chapter into a catalyst for change, and he was grateful to have such passionate friends by his side. Later that evening, as they gathered at Mia's house to celebrate their success, laughter and joy filled the air. They shared stories, reminiscing about their journey and the challenges they had faced together. The weight of the past had been transformed into a foundation for a brighter future. As the night wore on, they sat outside under a starlit sky, the cool breeze rustling the leaves above them. Alex looked around at his friends, feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude. They had faced their fears and conquered the darkness, emerging stronger and more united. "Do you think we'll always be connected by this?" Alex asked, his voice soft. "Absolutely," Mia replied, her smile warm. "We've been through something profound together. It's a bond that can't be broken." "Emily will always be a part of us," Jake added, his tone sincere. "Her story is now intertwined with our own." As they gazed up at the stars, Alex felt a sense of peace wash over him. They had turned the page on a difficult chapter, and now, with Emily's spirit guiding them, they were ready to embrace new beginnings. The darkness had not defeated them. Instead, it had illuminated their paths, leading them toward a future filled with hope, purpose, and connection. And as they made a pact to continue sharing their story, supporting one another, and advocating for mental health awareness, Alex realized that they were not just honoring Emily's memory, they were transforming it into something beautiful. They were creating a legacy of love and resilience that would ripple through their community, touching the lives of others, and ensuring that no one would have to face their battles alone. In that moment, under the vast expanse of the night sky, Alex understood that every ending was merely a new beginning. With their hearts united and their spirits lifted, they were ready to forge ahead, leaving behind the shadows of the past and embracing the light of their shared future.